Well, after bloody clashes involving the tribals and the majority Metis in Manipur over the possible ST status to the latter, the state's Hill Action Committee chairperson and a BJP member, an MLA, had moved multiple petitions in the Supreme Court challenging the two Manipur High Court orders, seeking a stay of the High Court's order that was passed on the 27th of March, which had directed the BJP-ruled Manipur government to consider the case of including Metis community in the scheduled tribe list expeditiously and preferably within 4 weeks. That was the High Court order which was challenged. In fact, the petition argues that this was a political problem in which the High Court had no role to play and the political disputes were to be resolved politically. Supreme Court, meanwhile, calls this a humanitarian issue and it has on its part asked the government about the displaced people and the steps taken to protect the religious areas. The court has also emphasized the need for due arrangements to be made in the relief camps. The centre has made its submissions as well on this case, saying that the curfews were relaxed and there were no violent incidents in the last 2 days. The apex court, meanwhile, like I said, expressed certain concerns. The court will hear the matter next on the 17th of May. Making an official disclosure on the situation, Manipur Chief Minister Biren Singh put out the figures today on the level and extent of damage. In fact, we put it out for you there on your screens. Around 60 innocent people have lost their lives. 231 people suffered injuries. 1,700 houses burnt down in the unfortunate incident of 3rd May. Also, evacuated persons, 20,000 stranded, were still stranded. Around 10,000. So let's in fact listen into what the Manipur Chief Minister had to say and also the Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh who has commented on the situation.
इसी घटना में जो जान गई है, as per the available report, as of now around 60s, सब innocent हैं और इंजूर हुआ है अराउंड 231 पीपल, सीरियस है, माइनर है और घर उड़ चढ़ा है. अराउंड 1,700 houses were burned down. This is very unfortunate incident, I should say, and I appeal to the people of the state of Manipur to come and we should together try to bring peace in the state at the earliest possible.
नहीं, एक बच्चे का मैसेज आया मुझे तो व्हाट्सएप पर, उसका नंबर भी नहीं था और उसने मैसेज दिया और उस मैसेज के बाद हमने अपने रेजिडेंट कमिश्नर को बोला कोऑर्डिनेट करिए और फिर उनको हम वो घबराए हुए हैं. 3 IIT के स्टूडेंट्स थे, 2 नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट थे, 3 हमारे मंडी डिस्ट्रिक्ट से थे, 1 हमीरपुर से था और 1 कुल्लू से थे. हमने उनको यहाँ बुलाया और ये कहा कि इनको तुरंत निकालिए और रात को इनका मैसेज आया. सुबह हम इनको लेकर आगे कलकत्ता आए, कलकत्ता के बाद दिल्ली आए.
सर, महाराष्ट्र के स्टूडेंट जब वहाँ पे थे तो हम चिंतित थे कि कब क्या होगा, हमें कुछ पता नहीं था, मगर जब
In fact, we are also looking at the entire evacuation process. You heard the Himachal Chief Minister talking about how students from Himachal are being brought back. Same is the situation for states like West Bengal and Bihar. In fact, 18 students of West Bengal studying in Manipur have now been evacuated. They were students studying in the College of Agriculture and the Central Agricultural University. 20 students from Maharashtra, pictures on your screens of the students who have arrived back in Mumbai. They were studying in Manipur and they arrived via flight from Guwahati. Also, in fact, from other states like Bihar, the CM of Bihar says that by Tuesday, those students who are stranded there will be evacuated. Let me introduce, joining us here on the program, Patricia Mukhim, editor of Shillong Times, very close observer of these kind of conflicts in tribal areas. Patricia, very good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Mirror Now. I want to begin by asking you, here is a situation of a conflict, a simmering conflict that has flared up. Do you hold the elected government responsible? Do you feel that this situation could have been handled responsibly in time rather than leading to a situation of this nature where already there is simmering tension. And on top of it, for multiple reasons like you and me know, on top of it comes the Métis reservation issue, which has only opened out a new Pandora's box.
Well, I don't understand how the Chief Minister now says that he will fix responsibility on those who have abdicated their duty. The government is the first respondent here because the government should have felt the situation. And why doesn't the government have an intelligence wing of the police or even the central intelligence agencies? Aren't they able to sense that there is this palpable violence in the making? Why did they allow that so-called peace march? You have a peace march and then you have 60,000 people out on the streets and you have some of them brandishing AK-47s. So it was intended to cause trouble. And in the states of the northeastern region, a wise person said, if you want something, you have to create a law and order problem. That's the only way things will be resolved. Otherwise, governments take things very lightly. So I feel personally that the government did not respond on time because this has been on the brew for quite a while.
Yes.
Since February, when the government tried to survey these reserved forests, ostensibly to bring them under the purview of reserved forests. And then, that is like intruding into the space of the tribes, because the tribes or the indigenous people think or believe or have been told over the centuries that forests or any land, in fact, belongs to them, which is why they hold custodianship of 90% of Manipur, which is the forest area or the
Yes.
hills, what we call it. Yeah.
There are already, and you mentioned one of them, there are already quite a few issues, pending issues, which have not been resolved. You mentioned the issue about forested area, the reserved area, which often gets intruded, creates conflict. There's the poppy seed, the poppy cultivation issue. Manipur CM wants to crack down on the prevalence of drug abuse. That issue also hurts the certain sections of the society. They're angry over it. There is the issue of immigrants coming from the other countries, from bordering countries, taking their space. There is a disproportionate representation of the hill and the valley in the assembly. That is a pending issue. Population and the area, which you explained. Again, the hills have the larger area with fewer population, whereas the valley people have a smaller area. Now, all of these are already outstanding issues, unresolved. On top of that comes another one. But what I want to ask you here is the level and extent of displacement now, Patricia. If you look at it, where have you heard? I mean, within the state, there is evacuation happening from hills to valley and the valley to the hills.
Yes.
Where else would you see such a situation, animosity between two ethnicities?
Well, these two ethnicities have never really learned to live together. And I have to include the third ethnicity, which is the Nagas.
Yes.
So they, it's all right to have different tribes in a state, but the dissensions between these tribes, for a long time, the stated position of the Nagas is that the Kukis are not indigenous to Manipur, that they have come in from Myanmar.
Which graphics bhi chala ho.
From erstwhile Burma. So, this, and then there was that huge conflict between the Nagas and the Kugis in 1998. I think we should all remember that. So this time, if you look at the situation, the Nagas somehow have remained very quiet. They haven't given their points of view. So again, there is this balancing act. Now comes the ST inclusion of the Métis in the list of STs, which came in April. Now we can understand the aspirations of the Métis to be in that category only because they would have the benefit of being able to buy land in the hills.
Right.
Because as of now, they are not tribals, and so they can't buy land in the hills. And they're just sort of located in that 10% of land in the valley. And then look at the irony here. All of the institutions of governance, all of the institutions of learning, whether sports or agriculture or medicine, they are all located in the valley. For the longest time, there are no institutions of any kind of excellence in the hills. So there's this huge divide. And now we talk of normalcy returning. Today, apparently, the state has said to the Supreme Court that normalcy is returning. If normalcy has returned, why are people then wanting to get out of the valley? You know, hordes and hordes of students and other workers are now wanting to get out because they see that the situation is not going to normalize anytime soon.
That is the worrying part now, that how do you resolve something like this? It's obviously going to be, from all accounts, a long-term plan and, solution that has to be worked out. It's not something that you can just quell overnight. Patricia, Mukhim, really appreciate your joining us this evening.
I want to say one more thing.
Yes, go ahead.
Please. The promulgation of Article 355, I think this is the first time ever that we have had this article being promulgated in any state. It's used in a state of emergency. So was there that kind of emergency for use of Article 355, for removal of the sitting DGP, for bringing in a person from outside?
Yes.
To oversee the security situation? How did things come to this pass? We need to question all this. How were they allowed to come to this pass? How were weapons looted from 35 police stations? These are questions we in the media need to ask. Who allowed people, rioters, mobs to get these weapons, to brandish them the way they want, and to just go on a killing spree? And where are the peace committees? We are in a region of turmoil, and yet we do not have a peace institution. We don't have training on peace building. The elders have not come out.
Those groups used to exist, Patricia, if you remember. Those civil society groups, the student groups used to exist. Somewhere they have been silenced. Now we don't see them active anymore. That's again another unfortunate part. We could go on for a lot longer, but unfortunately out of time. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us here this evening.